Hey, it's Barb and Nick. And have you ever heard somebody say, you know, you just can't teach feel. You just cannot teach feel. And I just want to share with you that I don't really completely subscribe to that. Yes, you can be born with the talent of balance. You can have great coordination, which, by the way, I don't really have natural great coordination. And you know, other people say, well, it just takes really a lot of experience to develop feel. And here's the thing about that. I know a lot of people who have been writing for a lifetime and still don't have a lot of feel. And then I know other people who have been writing a much shorter time and they've developed a lot of feel. So I think that a couple of things. I think that feel can be developed, and I think it takes experience, of course. And to me, it's a combination of a willingness to perceive our horse and really understand like where they are at that particular moment, or what level of cueing and the consistency of the cues that you've used and how you communicate with them. And then a sensitivity to their response, and then it becomes this constant communication back and forth that's they're perceiving us and responding, and we're perceiving them and responding. And again, it's that willingness to give a horse time, and I'm not talking about an hour, but a willingness to give a horse time to feel our cues and then respond. And this past weekend, I was in Las Vegas at the Excellence in Horsemanship clinic that Andrea Fapani produced. It's his Along for the Ride podcast. And he invited Nick Dowers and Sean Flaherty, and along with some other really great horsemen. And it was so interesting, and I learned a lot, and it was fun for me to go and sit and be a sponge. And I just really loved it, and they did an excellent job. And one of the things that Nick said consistently that really stuck with me and that I just really liked, and because I think it helps with this whole idea of feel. He talked a lot about a horse, he called it following the feel. So in other words, if I'm going to use this left leg to get Nick to go in the circle here, I need to give him time to follow the feel of my cue. And here's another example. I'm going to sit. I need to give him time to feel my seat. I'm going to step over here just a little bit. And now I'm going to back him up here in a second. And I'm just going to ask him with a really light cue for him to back up. And let's see what happens. So I'm going to back him up. That's pretty good. But let's just play like he didn't respond. Let's say I took a light hold of him and he didn't follow the feel of my cue, and he just kind of stood there. Then what I could do is do a correction where I could do this and add more energy and more add more energy to my hand, and also I could add energy by adding my legs to move his legs. And then the next time I ask him to back up, he'd follow the feel. He's not now, so like this. But what I'm not going to do, and this is the big distinction, I'm not going to do this. just kind of go and ask him and not give him time to follow it. So let's see what he does now. Whew. Take a breath. I'm going to sit to stop. There we go. So he followed the feel of my hand. And I asked him really in the same way that I did. I think I might have done this before. But following the feel is that clarity of how you're asking, what you do if your horse doesn't respond, which is just add some energy and let them follow it. And then you ask them to follow it again. And you can do that with a turn. I'm going to go this way with Nick. I'm going to neck rein over here. So let's say I'm going to just put this right rein on his neck to come this way. I'm just going to let him follow that feel. I just really, I hope that resonates with you as much as it does with me. Because to me, this idea of following the feel is about, applying a light cue, taking your time, letting a horse find it, and then letting a horse, turn or back up or do whatever. And it doesn't mean that it has to be like slow and it can't be a high performance thing. The more a horse knows and the lighter the cues and the more responsive, it can just be so immediate and precise. But I think when a horse understands the cue, understands the communication, and then there's this sensitivity and adding and taking away, and it's back and forth, that horses and riders really become one, and that feel is truly established. And it is in your legs, it's in your seat, it's in your hands, and it's also really important to have that sequence of cues clear and the amount of pressure that you're using. So, I don't know if Nick Dowers would completely subscribe to my explanation of his words, but I just heard him say that repeatedly, and it was always with the application of some kind of cueing, legs, hands, for some type of maneuver, some type of canter departure, whatever, and he was wanting his horse to follow it. So let me know if that resonates with you, if that makes sense, if it helps you in this whole idea of developing more feel. Leave a comment for me.